Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring the Goblin Slayer TRPG. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this role-playing game based on the popular fantasy series, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about weapon attacks. But first, I would like to talk about this channel's sponsor, Heroes and Hardships. This is a universal RPG system, allowing you to play any sort of story, genre, theme, scenario, campaign. You can also create any sort of character that you can imagine. I'm going to put a few links in the description that will take you to the Kickstarter that should begin in about a month or so. There are also going to be links to the website, to the Tetsubo section of the website, which is an upcoming setting for Heroes and Hardships. I'm also going to put links to my reviews of the Quick Start guide and to the Wallace campaign setting, based on the life and exploits of William Wallace. So please check it out. Now, let's continue. Concerning weapon attacks, a character can use their equipped melee weapon or ranged weapon to attack one enemy within their weapon's range. Obviously, attacks made with melee weapons are melee attacks and ranged attacks are ranged attacks. When making an attack, declare one of three attributes: slash, pierce, or bludgeoning. The attributes you can choose for this are determined by each weapon. You cannot make an attack with an attribute the weapon doesn't have. When making an attack, first perform a hit check. Melee and ranged attacks both use the same method for making hit checks. Let's talk about hit checks. Your base hit score is determined by your technique focus, plus the level of class using the weapon, plus modifiers from skills like weapons and such. Adding the character's equipped weapon's hit modifier to that standard hit score gives a value called the total base hit score. Using this total base hit score, you can find the final score for the character's hit check using the formula total base hit score plus 2d6. So that is, the final hit check score is going to be equal to your total base hit score plus 2 6-sided dice. The total base hit score and the final hit check score may gain bonuses or suffer penalties depending on the items your character possesses or the skills they are using. Make sure to factor in the effects of any items or skills that affect your character's hit checks. In response to the hit check's final score, the character on the receiving end may either make a dodge check or a block check. They then compare that score with the score for the attacker's hit check. If the attacker's hit check score is higher than the opponent's dodge check score, the attack lands. If the opponent chose to block with their shield and made a block check, then as long as the block check isn't a critical success, the attack will still hit regardless of the block check's final score. However, if the character's hit check score is equal to or lower than the opponent's block check score, the opponent will catch the attack on their shield and greatly reduce the damage. If a hit check is a critical success, then not only do you add 5 to the final score, but the attack also cannot be defended against without the opponent also rolling a critical success on their dodge check or block check. If the critical success attack lands, it causes a critical hit. On the other hand, if a hit check is a critical failure, it's treated as a normal failure. The attack doesn't land and you don't need to find a total score for the check. The opponent will not need to defend it. When moving within reach, that is 5 meters, a character will face no penalties or restrictions. If they move between reach and their opponent's speed in meters, they can perform melee attacks without any penalties. However, they will take a severe penalty on hit checks for ranged attacks. If a character moves beyond that, up to twice their movement speed in meters, they also take a penalty on melee attacks and an even greater penalty on ranged attacks. If they use a full speed movement to move up to 4 times their movement speed in meters, they take a heavy penalty on melee attacks and cannot perform ranged attacks at all. Let's talk about cover. A character cannot make ranged attacks if they can't see their target enemy due to an obstacle like a wall, trees, or boulders. If the target is partially visible, The attacker takes a penalty on the hit check of -2 if about half of them is visible. And this penalty escalates, that is, the more cover that the opponent has, the greater the penalty to your attack, to your ranged attack. Other characters are not treated as cover except in special circumstances. Those circumstances include an enemy using a hostage as a shield, or a character trying to use their own body as cover. In situations such as this, a character may be treated as cover. Ultimately, it's up to the game master whether something is considered cover, whether something is visible or not, and how much of a penalty to assign. When attacking a stationary object or an opponent who has been rendered unconscious by passing out or sleeping or is otherwise disabled, the attack will always hit as long as the hit check is not a critical failure. When it comes to shield attacks, a character can use their shield for a melee attack. Its attacking attribute is treated as a bludgeoning damage attack. The standard hit score for a shield is found using this formula, which is technique focus plus level of a class that can equip that shield plus bonus from weapons, such as maces or weapons close combat. All small shields without weapon data have a power of 1d3 plus 1, and their hit modifier is -2. Larger shields, of course, will deal more damage, but their hit modifier is the same. Now, when it comes to throwing weapons and shields, most weapons and shields are throwable. A weapon or shield that is thrown is treated as a throwing weapon. However, a character cannot throw any weapon or shield that says not throwable. Also, when throwing a weapon or shield without any special effects related to throwing, whatever scores they originally possessed don't matter. Thrown weapons and shields are considered one-handed weapons with an attribute of bludgeoning, a power of 1d3 plus 1, and a hit modifier of -2, and a range of 10 meters. If a character throws a weapon that says made for throwing, use the listed values for its hit modifier, power, and range instead. If a character throws a weapon that says throwable, use the weapon's original hit modifier and power, its range being 10 meters. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about defending against weapon attacks. You can see how attacks are very easy to understand and to carry out, and you have some strategic and tactical options. Some weapons have different types of damage. You can hit the enemy with the blunt side of the weapon, or the edge side, or the pointy side. You also have those options of moving and then attacking or staying still. They will affect your attack negatively when it comes to modifiers, so it's better to move very little or not move at all. The rules for cover are also very situational, that is, it's very easy for the game master to adjudicate how much cover a character benefits from behind that boulder, that structure, that pillar, statue, etc. And for those that love Goblin Slayer's fighting style, you can throw all sorts of weapons and your shield. The penalty isn't that great, so I think a lot of the fans of the light novel, the anime, the manga are going to love that. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, you can send an Amazon gift card or a drive-thru RPG gift certificate. The information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.